Okay. Okay. Now I'm continuing from the other YouTube that I just did. It's on our other channel, and yours, Church. I'm closing the door so I don't hear the words coming from out there, and we'll continue on. The We talked about the breakfast. We stopped in the middle. Now we'll talk about the iron. Yeah, you don't realize it, but you're being poisoned with iron in your grains and cereals. In my opinion, I believe it's poisoning you. And I believe that the iron that comes into your body through that means, which shouldn't be able to, but it does, I believe that ends up in your bloodstream as little tiny solid pieces of rusty iron, and it's pushed around by your blood, and it nicks and cuts into the blood vessels that are supposed to be smooth. And cholesterol is actually a salve, a wound healing salve that your body produces. It does two things. It pulls trash away from cells, brings it to the digestive system, where it can extract this poison and get rid of it, and then it goes back fresh and new to the cells to pick up more garbage. It's like little garbage trucks in your blood that are emptying it out. And when more of those cholesterol is full of garbage, because when it gets to where it's supposed to get cleaned out, it's not getting cleaned out properly, then you have high bad cholesterol. When more of your cholesterol is the cholesterol that's been cleaned out properly, and now it's going back to pick up trash again, and it'll all be in the same blood system together, both ones, but but the body sorts it out. When you have that's what cholesterol does, and your body needs cholesterol. And if you go on a cholesterol-free diet, if you eat no cholesterol at all, your body needs cholesterol, and it will make cholesterol, and you will end up with most likely a higher cholesterol level than a person who eats plenty of cholesterol. Because if you eat plenty of cholesterol, your body won't make it, because it doesn't need to make it, because it'll just use what you're eating. So that's one idea about that science. And if you are not using any iron except iron, the way iron should come into our human body is it should be absorbed from the ground by plants, by the roots, and the plants actually chemically grab the minerals, and they get surrounded with a biological molecule. So they would be considered organic. Now, a piece of iron is not organic. It's not organic. They call it inorganic. But if it's been chelated out of the ground, it's organic. And so your body, if you looked at these two under a microscope, the kind that you could look at it with, you need powerful ones. The iron, the enriched iron that's in cereals and breads, and by federal law has to be in all of anybody who produces wheat. Any wheat product has to put this iron in it. A whole wheat product doesn't need it, because the whole wheat has the parts of the wheat that has some iron in it naturally. Now that iron is healthy for you. It's not unhealthy, and your body can use it. The iron that's in all the enriched products in America is all causing most of the heart disease in this country, that we have a lot of it. And in fact, any place that goes from a primitive diet to the American standard diet is going to be eating flour, white flour, that has, and grains that are going to be enriched with pieces of iron that's been ground up. Or they'll make rusty water, which they call ferrous, whatever they call it. And that's another, you wouldn't drink rusty water, and you wouldn't sprinkle iron on your food and eat it, but you do every day in all the American diet. The only one that I'm aware of is called ferrous orthophosphate, and some cream of wheats have that in them. I haven't seen it much other places. Ferrous orthophosphate is a form of iron that has been chelated, or at least is in a form where the body can easily chelate it and make it usable without being dangerous. So the problem is that you eat so much iron every day in your body, that's little tiny pieces of iron, and by the time you're 40, 45, or 50, add all the other problems with the salt and the potassium and everything else, and you end up with heart disease. And the cholesterol, if you have clean, uncut arteries, the cholesterol's there. It doesn't clog them up. It just goes through them. But if the cholesterol is going through the body and in the blood vessel, there's a breakage, any kind of roughness in the vessel, that the cholesterol can get stuck on it, especially the bad cholesterol, because it's very sticky and gooey. The good cholesterol may not be so sticky and gooey, but either way it doesn't matter. The cholesterol sticks to the little rough spot in the blood vessel where it's been cut by a piece of iron that shouldn't be in your blood, but it's in there, and it's a little rusty iron razor blade, microscopic, but it's there, and it'll be there for the rest of your life. Your body has no way to take solid pieces of iron, no matter how small they are, that is in your blood vessels, that we know of, your body has no way to take them out of the blood system. And men don't have, women have blood leave their body every month, a little bit of it. So some of that iron leaves the women's bodies, and men don't. So heart disease, for many years, women tended to get it about 10 years later than men got it, because you had to have this gradual accumulation of the iron in your blood until there was so much iron doing so much damage that you ended up with strokes and heart attacks. And the women got them 8 or 10 years later because their blood is being bled out every month, a certain amount, and their body's making new blood, and so it's less concentrated, and iron goes out in that blood as it goes out of their body. Which is kind of strange. It's kind of backwards, but it's not backwards. But this is an important thing. And if you only get your iron through foods that have absorbed it from the ground, if you see the chelated iron, the organic iron under a microscope, instead of looking like little rusty laser blades, it looks like little bubbles. It's bubbly, and it can interact with the body, and the body can use it, and the iron that comes from that does not harm you. And in fact, you need plenty of it. But the way we process our foods, we take the natural iron that's in the shell of the wheats and the things, we shouldn't eat them anyway, but it does take them out, and it puts them into our body. But these razor blades, your body takes them out and gets them into the blood, but it chelates about 10-15% of that. Your body has the ability to take some iron or some non-chelated metals and to chelate them, and then it can use them. But the rest of it can't use, and it can't get rid of it. And now anyone can say, oh, well, that's all wrong, but it isn't all wrong. And if it is or isn't, I don't care. Our religion believes that. It's part of our religious diet, just like the Jewish people have a religious diet. And the Muslims, we have one, and it's based on what we understand in the Bible and our reading of the Bible and how it should be. And everything I'm talking about does not disagree with what the Bible shows, teaches, and does. And everything they do does disagree with it, or at least it's not saying to do it that way. So that's about the iron. If you have any questions, you can contact us, and there's plenty of things other persons besides us you can do. Now, I have a way that I know of, a product I use that removes honey, that removes chelated ions from your body, and it really removes other minerals and metals that have gotten into the body that don't belong there, like mercury and other issues. We'll get into that in a little bit if I ever get this done. You don't want to eat tuna fish. in fact, you don't really want to eat any fish anymore, because they use some of the coal plants that they burn coal in puts mercury, which is a metal. It's in thermometers, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be. You shouldn't touch it. You should stay away from it. It's dangerous. They use mercury when you go to the dentist. If they don't know what they're doing, they put cavities in your teeth. They drill them and put fillings, and they have these amalgamated fillings that have mercury in them, and the mercury helps them to work for the way they want them to work. If you learn the Weston Price diet and you learn what we're teaching and you start using it, and so that your children as they're born are eating that way, they won't need any dentists, because their teeth won't get cavities and they won't rot, and that's a fact. But in order for that to happen, they really have to not use any grains at all, or any seeds, and very few seeds, nuts, and some other things where they really clearly gotten the phytic acid off of them, and where they separate that from the meats and the foods. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So now, most of this video is taken up with the iron issue. I'll talk about my lunch a little here. And what happens to me is they give me a breakfast in the morning, they give me a lunch in the afternoon, and they give me a dinner. Well, now it's about 3:30, 4:30. They'll bring it to me in another hour or two. And they get upset that I keep the food in the room. They want me to eat it when they bring it to me, because this nursing home is centered around their needs and not centered around my needs, as you're seeing. If they were centered around my needs, they wouldn't be giving me poisonous foods. If you listen to the other videos from yesterday and today. And basically what I have to do is try to eat foods that are nutrient dense, and keep the balance between 2 sodiums to 47 potassiums. And if I get 4 sodiums, then I need 94 potassiums. I need to keep them in balance. If I keep them in balance, that will, if they're not in balance, my body has to do all these stressful things to try and get them in balance, and it can't do it. And that establishes a basis upon which then I can have high blood pressure, and the high blood pressure causes problems that ruin your kidneys, ruin your organs, and to give you diabetes and give you other problems. And then you end up with dialysis. And it's a great business. It's a great business. The American Standard Diet and the American Medical Society and all the American laws that force you to believe in that religion. It is a religion. It's all a religious belief. Most of the science they follow is not real good science. It's what they think is right. And then the doctors themselves live this way and have these same problems, because you can't be healthy eating the American food the way it's made and available. You can, if you're very cautious and you can try to avoid, you can try to eat some healthy foods, which I tried to do, but they're stopping me from doing it. So now I didn't go over this list yet, but let's do it quickly together. Oh yes, I did. Lunchtime today, they brought me everything they had on the sheet. That's good. In the past, there were so many days they didn't bring it to me what's on the sheet. I wish I'd have documented all of it in a video. I have it in writing, some of it, but I know what's going on, and here it is. Now, the problem I end up with is I really can't eat my meals until I get all my food for the day, and I know what it is going to be, so I can try to figure out how to eat the least of the foods that I don't want to eat that are dangerous for me, although it's all dangerous for me, and try to lose weight, which I'm trying to do, and that's hard to do. Anyway, that's stressful, that's complicated. And if I could eat the foods that I want to eat, I would eat a balanced sodium, potassium, balanced minerals, and then I would eat more food but get less fat from it because they'd be low calories. And I had gone out while they were letting me go out. I bought POM, which is a pomegranate juice, but it has and then I buy my pomegranate juice from Russian importers, and they're not making it now anymore the way they did, because they didn't have good filtering methods. So a lot of the white part of the pomegranate would get into the juice. But that's exactly what I want, because that's where the potassium is concentrated. And so I was so happy to get that pomegranate juice and drink it daily. And but I wasn't doing everything correct. I didn't know everything I was doing then. I know more now than I did then. But if you know more now than you did then, you can change things, and you can have a wonderful diet, and it can be healthy, and you can enjoy it. But now I'm going to stop this because it's getting close to 16 minutes, and then I'm going to make another one, and then I'm going to deal with the food, because I haven't eaten any breakfast or any lunch. It's 2:30, 3 o'clock. That doesn't help me lose weight, because then I binge eat when I do eat, and I'm eating more than I would otherwise. And so it's all stressful and wrong. And they shouldn't be doing this to me as a patient. They should be supplying me with healthy food. They should, by law, they have to give me a religious diet, but they don't. Thank you. Goodbye.